Throughout hundreds of years, countries and cultures have shared stories with family and friends. These stories range from friendly beings existing to help guide you on your journey, to demonic entities that have no purpose but to torment the living. For most of these stories, they are shared with the notion of being true, usually from personal experiences. There's no telling how far back or what the first legend is, but they're fun to talk about with your friends over a fire on a cold night in the woods. For those who don't know, my mother is Mexican and my dad is German, so I grew up hearing stories about La Llorona, singing nymphs, and the chupacabra. But today, we'll be discussing 3 urban legends based in Japan that to this day are still referenced in pop culture and word of mouth. So grab something to drink, and let's hear about some of Japan's most interesting urban legends. As someone who has an irrational fear of dolls, this first entry is one that personally makes me walk the other way during Halloween. If you find yourself at Man-Nenji Temple in Iwamizawa, you will understand why this urban legend gained so much popularity. It's here where the Okiku doll resides. The story goes, in 1913, a young Japanese girl was gifted this doll. From the moment she received it, they were inseparable. It wasn't until the young girl sadly passed away at the age of 3 from yellow fever. After her passing, the family intended to bury the doll with their daughter, as they knew how much she loved Okiku. But due to some complications, they were unable to. So instead, the family placed the doll upon their altar, in which they created a small shrine to celebrate their daughter. This is where some people believe the cursed doll started showing signs of being anthropomorphic. The main reason is seen on the doll's head. The family noticed that Okiku's hair was growing longer. Originally, the doll had a traditional shoulder-length cut, but over time had turned into a tangled mess reaching down past her waist. The hair felt different, and was even different colors throughout. They also mentioned the doll appearing by their side after they had woken up from sleeping. And even more, lights began flickering, strange noises throughout the house, and voices were being heard at all hours of the day. The family later went to Man-Nenji Temple to have the priest take the doll while they relocated to another district. They feared moving closer to their daughter's burial site would heighten the doll's activity, so the priest accepted and began watching over Okiku to see if they can confirm what had been happening. Over time, the hair growth was confirmed, and the priest even sent samples of the hair to be scientifically examined. The hair sample was then confirmed to be from a human child. Roughly 100 years later, this doll has attracted many tourists, and the claims have still been the same. The hair is growing longer and more mangled. The mouth is slowly opening more and more, and further. Some say if you look into the mouth of Okiku, you can even see baby teeth piercing the porcelain gums. When I go on my trip to Japan, I'll make sure to stop by this temple to see it for myself, if I can stomach being around the doll for a few minutes. For our second urban legend, we're going to do a complete 180 and talk about one of Japan's funny looking yokai. Known as the Casa Obaka, this spirit takes on the shape of a very old umbrella. Its characteristics vary from having one eye, one leg, to having 2 arms and legs. Almost always, this yokai is depicted as having a very long tongue. The Casa Obaka is relatively harmless and spends most of its time scaring people for fun and licking them. While many people believe in the cursed umbrella, it is thought to be more of a metaphor for old items that, over time, obtain a form of personality, characteristic, or soul. This umbrella has been seen in lots of modern works, such as Super Mario Land 2: 6 Golden Coins, where one of the enemies known as Umbraloid can be seen the second level of Pumpkin Zone. Even more recently, it is a weapon you can obtain in Genshin Impact. While on the topic of harmless spirits, a similar ghost known as Chochin Obake is a lantern that also enjoys scaring people for fun. Similar to Casa, it has a long tongue, and when passers-by approach, it flicks its long tongue, rolls its eyes back, and laughs hysterically. Although both are a little silly, make sure to think twice when you feel something lick your leg while you're watching TV in the middle of the night. Our last legend is one for those with arachnophobia. Known as the Jorogumo, which translates to woman spider, which could also read as horse spider, these yokai are depicted as beautiful, seductive, and cunning women. They feed on men who fall for their tricks. Once caught, the Jorogumo traps them in their giant web and devours them. Similar to a succubus, these creatures lure men in with their seductiveness and wit. The legend is based on the very real and terrifying orb weaver spider. These spiders can be found all over Japan, and once they turn 400 years old, they will turn into a Jorogumo and begin preying on humans. In the story named Tonoigusa, or Night Watchman's Storybook, a warrior encounters one of these Jorogumo. After realizing what he had encountered, he stabs her with his sword, in which she retreats to a nearby attic. The warrior follows, and when he reaches the top of the attic, he is left with the sight of a 30-centimeter long spider surrounded by decaying bodies. Similarly, there's another human-like spider known as Tsuchigumo. These are massive spiders with human faces. They like to hide in dark spaces that feed on the living as well. If you ever see an orb weaver in the wild, it's probably best to leave it alone and turn the other way. Thank you all so much for watching. Although the videos have been slow to come out lately, I really enjoy doing these types of videos, and I hope you guys enjoy watching as well. I always wanted to say thank you for supporting me on YouTube as well. I think I did that in the last video, but I kind of wanted to do it now as like the end of the year type of thing. 2023 will be the year I pump out a lot of content on YouTube, so please make sure to subscribe, like, comment, but I hope you all stick around, and I hope everyone who watches this has a wonderful holiday season. You guys deserve it. You guys deserve to be happy. Have a good time with family, friends. Enjoy it. If no one has told you today, you're appreciated, you're doing great, and I'm proud of you. I'll see you all in 2023. Stay safe, and Happy New Year.